Hi everyone, welcome. FPLMattDay here. It's the live deadline Game Week 10 stream, early deadline on Saturday morning Australia time, Friday night UK time. And I'm joined by a special guest who did join me last week as well. You all know him. It's Quentin from the FPLAmateursOfAus. And he's still wearing his Man United shirt on the stream. But no, buzzing to have you on, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm doing good, mate. It's the weekend for me, so yeah, kicking back, enjoying the football this weekend, and having a bloke at a bar beer, the official alcohol beverage of the FPL Amateurs of Oz podcast. So, that's
Is it
pretty good.
right? Is
No,
that
it's not
actually?
really. It's not
Oh, I
really.
was going to say then, did you create your own beer?
No,
Oh
I'm
my God,
doing good,
that'd be
mate. I'm doing
amazing.
good. I'm buzzed for this week after a good week last weekend. So yeah, I'm pumped.
No, good to hear, mate. Good to hear. Let's bring up some comments. As always, please give the video a like. Get your questions and comments in that are ready for Game Week 10. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and check out FPL Amateurs of Oz as well on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram and YouTube as well, and his website. Go check out Q. You can also find me on those same platforms as well. Let's bring up some comments onto the ball. What a legend. Great channel. Go and check him out. Zada, welcome to the stream, mate. I'm good. Hope you are as well, mate. FPL MFZ, I didn't do the wildcard draft this week. Reason being, I've done them for the last few weeks, and I thought, let's just give it a week because they're all starting to look exactly the same. So I thought, might wait a couple more game weeks until the wildcard draft looks a bit different. But if you've got any questions on wildcard drafts or anything that me and Q can help you out, so get your questions in any way, and we can help. MF Z as well. She said, "Don't worry, we're smashing City, mate. I mean, getting smashed." Yeah, we'll do our fixture review tonight. So what we'll do is our fixture review, which will be that game as well, and we'll also do talk about some differentials and captain picks. But we're here to answer your questions because it's an early deadline in the morning. I think the deadline's it's about 3:30 here in Oz. No, 4:30
Yeah,
in the morning in Oz. 4:30 in Oz.
nah,
So
three. Oh yeah,
yeah,
4:30 actually. 'Cause the
4:30.
game kicks off at 6.
So we're about 4, 5, 6, 7.5, 6.5 hours away. PSB, what a legend. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream, mate. Great to have you in here. I saw you had a good game week last week, which is good to see. Christian's in the stream. What a legend. Welcome to the stream, mate. Jermaine is in the stream. Buzzing to have you in here. And then Christian literally just needed to be talked up by -8. Yeah, he's been questioning a lot of hits or what to do with like your Dogi and stuff as well. So yeah, always lots of questions from him. D10, Daniel Capolaro, welcome to the stream, mate. What is Q feeling for the Manchester derby, or does he prefer to talk about Derby County, Derby County, Malcolm Christie, 4.5 million differential? We'll cover that derby soon, but yeah, sorry, Q, I've got some pretty wild predictions in that one, but we'll go through it soon. And then we've got one from Ron. We'll bring up side next comment in a second. Ron Chetty, how's it from South Africa? Hope you're good, mate. Welcome to the stream. Hope all is well over there. And SideNet, hey gents, good luck for the game week. You too, mate. It was great to see you the other day as well. I caught up with FPL SideNet. I saw FPL Planner as well, who I met for the first time in person, and FPL West Ham, which is Q's podcast partner in crime, Damo. So that was pretty cool.
My secretary / co-host.
Yeah, you're the secretary / co-host. So let's share screen. Let's go through these fixtures. As I mentioned before, get your questions in ready for the game week. Let's move this over here. Don't want to be sharing that. I need to share this screen. I need to do it so I can still see this screen. So let me just share that again. Let's do this. All right, here we go. Cool. All right, so game week 10, first game. Team I support, Spurs away at Crystal Palace. This is big. This is big because it's obviously if Spurs win, they get a nice little cushion at the top. I'm going to enjoy it whilst I can. Look, a lot of people are selling Spurs players this week, Q. I've seen a lot of people selling James Maddison. And even Son. I've seen a few people sell Son, but there's been more people preferring to sell Maddison than Son. Look, my opinion is I'm not selling either of them. Like, I'm keeping them both. Maddison's producing most weeks. Palace haven't got any. They've not really got any players for this game. Lots of injuries. I actually think it's going to be a 2-0, comfortable 2, maybe 3-0 win. I know it's a derby and it's the first game on, but yeah, I think Spurs could have gone up another 2 or 3 gears the other day, and Maddison should have scored a couple. I'm keeping him. What your thoughts on the managers that are selling James Maddison, Q?
Got 5 words for you. I'm loving Big Ange instead, and don't get rid of your Spurs assets because for me, they're probably one of the better attacking sides in the Premier League at the moment. And yes, they're not sort of smashing teams by 4 goals or 5 goals, but this could be a fixture that could happen. I think last season, did Spurs beat them 4-1 or 4-0?
4-0. It was 4-0.
Yeah.
Kane got 2. I can't actually remember who got the other 2 on that night. I think Kulu might have. I know Kane got 2. We beat him 4-0 then, and that was, Conte ball, which,
Yeah, and I know you don't want me to say this, Matty, but yous were dreadful last season in attack. Awful. And you scored 4 goals, and this season, the proof is there. Son could have had more goals last week. Maddison could have had more goals. Richarlison could have had more goals. It could have been a rout. So I think that, Mateta and co are going to have a tough night.
No, I love it, Q. And to be honest, I probably didn't need to ask Q's thoughts because I already know what they are, because he's basically Big Ange's son at the moment, which is pretty good to see. Do a quick score prediction and just and your key FPL players to watch then, Q, quickly, and then I'll bring up the comments.
I'm going to say 3-0 to Spurs. I think I think Crystal Palace will get their moments, but I just don't think they're going to trouble Spurs, and I think Spurs are going to hammer them to the ground, and probably going to see an early sub with the likes of Maddison and Son. But yeah, I think those 2 players are obviously the obvious ones, and obviously Udogie and Porro. But I like Brennan Johnson. I think there could be a possibility that he might start or at least get some decent time in the second half. And I definitely think he's an asset worth looking at because, looking at their fixtures, they've got Crystal Palace, Chelsea, Wolves, Villa, Man City, West Ham. So a mixture of bad and good fixtures, but attacking football is usually good for FPL. So
we always used to say the same with Kane and Son together. It's like someone needs to score the goals. But for me, I think Maddison, I'm going to go 2-0. I can see Maddison getting a couple of assists. Son grabbing a goal. And I think it'll be Richarlison's time to score. I know I say that most weeks, but he was very close against Fulham and he was good. He got the assist. He actually had a really good game. So I think this could be his night. So let's go 2-0 Spurs. Let's start bringing up the comments. Please like the video as well if you just sort of come into the stream. Subscribe if you're new here. And go check out Quentin as well, FPLAmateursOfAus. Bring up some comments. FPL SideNet, the legend.
Yeah. I want him to be conscious at 3:30.
I remember we did do a wake up for a stream. I think it was the start of last season, and we woke up and did a stream at like 3:30 in the morning or something. Me and Q did for like the deadline, and that was tough.
Wasn't the best idea.
No, it wasn't. Whole plan for Christian is Udogie out for Tsimikas, Pickford for Vicario. The -8 would be Højlund to Ferguson. I like the Ferguson pick. I like the Tsimikas pick. I know you want Vicario because you want some Spurs coverage, but you could probably I don't think you need to take that extra hit this week, really. What do you think on that one, Q?
See, I don't know where all this Udogie stuff come out because I must have been living under a rock because all of a sudden I heard this chatter of people worried that he needs rest and he's not going to start. And I was sort of thinking, I had a mind blank going, they must be playing in the League Cup next week. But then I realised they're not in it. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't think there's any problem with Udogie. I wasn't sure whether it was he had a knock, that's why he got taken off early, or was it because he made a couple of those mistakes? So, Andrew's pretty ruthless. If he sees something not right, he's not afraid to make changes, and that's why I thought that he might have got the early the early night. But yeah, I don't think Udogie's sort of in doubt this week, in my opinion. But I mean, Simicast, we just got the news that Robbo's out till January, so that's an all right move. I wouldn't be doing a -4 for those moves either, because Spurs could easily win 3-1 and Vicario gets 2 points, and Hoyland to Ferguson. Depending on how your lineup is, it might not be worth taking the hit to get him out this week, because they do have 3 good fixtures after the City fixture. So it just depends. But yeah, I'm not sure about the hits to get those moves done.
Yeah, neither. And the Udogie one's interesting because Ange Postecoglou did say, he's taking a little bit of a knock. He'll see how he goes. There is coverage. Like, I think, I'm not sure if Ben Davies is fit, but Emerson Royale can play on that side, or he can play on the right, Porro can play on the left. So, there's that. But Spurs do have the longest break between games. So this Palace game and then their next game in game week 11 against Chelsea is the last game of that game week. So it's actually the longest rest. So really, if Udogie's fine and he trains, or if he trained yesterday, or then he'll play at least sort of that 60 to 70 minutes, hopefully. So yeah, you could end up seeing him in the lineup, but he'll get subbed off. Managers have just got to hope it's just after the 60th minute and he's got a clean sheet under his belt. So one to look out for. We'll bring up some more comments that have come in as well. Some really nice comments that have come in tonight. PSB asking if we think Udogie starts. Q definitely thinks he starts. Look, I said to someone earlier on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, I said I thought he was 60-40. I'm going to say maybe yes. I'm going to keep with that. I think 60% yes. And then there's obviously that bit of doubt now that's in our mind. But with the knowledge of knowing Spurs' gap, like I said before, between this Palace game and the Chelsea game, is the longest of any team in the league. So there's a huge rest. I think if he's all right, like even if he's 80, 90%, I think he starts. So
do you think if he doesn't play, that it might be the niggle he's not going to come on off the bench, so at least have your first bench option sitting there?
Yeah, 100%. That's a good point, because if he doesn't start, I think they just give him the complete rest. So at least have some cover on your bench. Even if it's Charlie Taylor from Burnley, like that's not the worst option with the Bournemouth game. So, I think if you've got someone up your sleeve on the bench, it's not the end of the world. Like you said, he definitely won't come off the bench. Onto the Bulls made some radical moves this week. Let us know what they are, mate, in the comments. Please let us know. We want to see what they are. Christian's avoiding his wild card as Haaland City out of game week 18, and AFCON Asia Cup starts game week 21. So wild card before Christmas. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I've heard about that City one in game week 18. Where they're not because they're playing in the Club World Cup. So that's why I only run with one City player at the moment, which is Haaland anyway. But if you only have one or two, you could probably bench him for that game week. Football chat box, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well, mate. Good luck to you as well. Question from Dan. Udogie out for Porro. What do you think? I have one more free transfer. I don't mind it. I think Porro's a great pick. Q?
Yeah, no, I like Porro. The only issue I do have with that, Dan, is you're probably going to be transitioning away from maybe Spurs defense in the next week or two, do you reckon? So depending on whether you're going to hold Porro then for a long period of time, or unless you just want to waste that last free transfer.
Yeah, that's true. For me, I've got Porro, and I've got him because I bring him in on wildcard. Got my clean sheet out of him last week. I do think he can get a good game week this week, but yeah, some of those other fixtures, like I expect us to concede goals potentially in the Chelsea game. Yeah,
And
the Villa game.
Usually.
It's tough. We do definitely have a tougher run coming up. I guess it depends who his other defenders are. If he's got Trippier, if he's got Tsimikas, if you're going to go a defender this week, I think Arsenal's probably the way to go. With Sheffield United at home, Newcastle away next week's tough, but then they've got Burnley at home the week after. They've got Luton coming up in their next sort of like 6 games. But I still like the Porro shout if you want to make that sideways move.
Yeah, because I think looking at his team, he had Tsimikas, Trippier, and Cash as his starting 3. Then he had Udogie on the bench.
Yeah, he's got Madison and Sonaldo as well. Onto the ball has made a pact with himself to never take a -4, never mind a -8. Sometimes you got to take those hits. I never really used to take them, but like I find like this season I've not done one, but last season I was taking loads, and yeah, it can be quite
Prime
fun.
example, the -8. Damo took one not this week, the week before, and it paid out massively for him. So it does work, but it also can go very wrong as well.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can. It can. Christian, taking Udogi out was more to get Vicario in and fix the keeper turn of Pickford and Turner, which is fair. Like, Turner's not been keeping any clean sheets. Yeah, Vicario been doing well. Pickford is just a mess of a goalkeeper to own this season. We'll quickly do Chelsea Brentford and then we'll bring up some more comments. Welcome to the stream, FPL Planner. I hope you're well, mate. It was great to meet you the other night in person. It's always funny when you meet people from FPL in person because I was calling him Planner and then I was like, forgetting that he actually has a real name, which is obviously Tien. But like, you just forget. Let's do Chelsea Brentford. I've got no players from this game, but I think there's a lot of good potential in this game for FPL. If you've got Mbeumo still, you could definitely score in this. And obviously, a lot of people looking at that cheap fifth midfielder, which could be Cole Palmer, who looks like he's on pens, looks pretty sharp. He looked really good against Arsenal. We nearly scored another goal. So I think there's definitely some potential in this. Chelsea might scrape the win. Nah, I'm going to go 1-1 in this one. No, let's go Chelsea 1, Brentford 1. I think when Mbeumo can grab a goal, maybe another Palmer goal. And we'll go 1-0. What do you reckon, Q?
I want to say 2-0 to Chelsea. They've looked 100 times better the last 2 weeks, and Mudryk's starting to show what a lot of people thought that after that Liverpool debut that he was going to do. So, yeah, I could see this being a good win for Chelsea. I think Brentford defensively is still giving up plenty of chances. So, yeah, I think they could definitely get a decent win.
That'd be cool there, mate. And is there anyone, that you think from FPL is good outside of Palmer?
I really like
Did you say?
Mudryk. Palmer looked good. But yeah, probably Mudryk and Palmer, the two that sort of I'd be looking at in that fixture.
No, I like that. We'll do Arsenal Sheffield United in a second. We'll bring up some more comments. So keep getting your comments in. Subscribe if you're new. And also check out Quentin at FPLAmateursOfAus as well. His tag's there on the screen next to his name. Jermaine, 2 free transfers. Bruno out for Matoma and Alvarez out for Watkins. Your thoughts? Keeping Madison and Son and saving wildcard. Definitely keep Son and Madison. I think that's a good idea. I like Matoma in for Bruno. I think Bruno does have good fixtures coming up, but I think Matoma's got great fixtures as well. And this week he's got a really good fixture. Alvarez is an interesting one. I just think, yeah, but you kind of need Watkins now. His ownership's getting so much higher, and he's got Luton. So I'd probably say Alvarez is quite a reluctant sale, but you need to do it. And I like the Matoma one anyway, and definitely keep Madison and Son this week. So, yeah, I don't mind that. What do you reckon, Q?
I don't really like Alvarez out for Watkins, but then again, I guess if you got Haaland, you're probably not going to want double City coverage. But yeah, I guess if you don't want the double City coverage, but if you didn't mind that, I don't mind downgrading Bruno to maybe like a Douglas Luiz and then upgrading whoever your third striker is to Watkins.
Fair enough. You liking the Douglas Luiz pick?
Yeah, no, I think he's been pretty good, and just I'm in love with Villa. I'm almost going to become a Villa fan as well as a Spurs fan and a Man United fan. So it's pretty tough at the moment.
Yeah, Villa are looking good. Luiz always worries me though. Like, he does take pens and he grabs the odd goal, but the red card that always hangs over his head is what worries me. But
I mean, I like Adingra from Brighton. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, cheap option.
Yeah, I'm just not sure consistent minutes. Like he started the last couple, but going forward, I'm not sure when March comes back. So it's a little bit.
Brighton are always rotating. De Zerbi likes to I think he's probably done more rotation than Pep has this season with their lineups and stuff. So,
Yeah.
But Grass FC show. Well, I've done a bit of XG on the last couple of shows actually. I've spoken a little bit with the XG players, which is quite unusual for me. Daliwal legend, welcome to the stream, mate. His team is Areola, Udogi, and you can see it there on the stream. And he's captain in Salah, which I wouldn't expect anything different from you, mate, because I know you're a huge Liverpool fan. So that's fair enough. He's got Son in there. He's got Maddison in there. He's got Diaby in there. Probably only really missing Watkins. Kabore, I think, has lost his place as well. So you might want to potentially look at changing him over. But it's a pretty strong side, don't you reckon, Q?
Yeah, no, it is. I've got a bit of a differential pick for him if you would like to get Kabore out for his Matt Doherty from Wolves.
Yeah, Doherty's not bad, actually. If you want a cheap replacement for Kabore. Because he started, didn't he? Last week he did, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he started the last three. He's been really good going forward, and we all know that defensively it's not his strongest point. It's more when he's attacking. And I think last week he had 5 chances created from that wing as well. So I think he's 4.3. So he's 0.3 dearer than Kabore, but
no, I like that pick, Doherty. I saw FPL. I think it's like FPL Wolves or FPL Wolf. Has been talking about him, albeit he's a Wolves fan, so he's going to talk up Wolves players. But I remember when Doherty had those big hauls for Spurs under Conte, and he was unreal. So if he can even produce some of that right now, Wolves are looking really good under Gary, and we'll go through their fixture in a second. Daniel Capelli is talking about doing Udogi Udogi out for Ben White. I reckon if you're going to do Udogi out and you're going to go an Arsenal defender, you're probably going to look at more of like a Gabriel or a Saliba if you can afford it, in my opinion. But yeah, good luck with your choice, mate. Let's bring up some more comments in a second. Let's go into this Arsenal Sheffield United game. This is I wouldn't be looking at any Sheffield United players for this game. It's all about Arsenal, and I think they'll win comfortably 3-0. But Q, my question is for you: do you think we should race? Well, I've brought Saka in, but did I need to? Should we all be looking to race to get Saka in this week, or is it a little bit too early? Martinelli's a one player from this fixture. I think if you've got a spare space, bring him in because he looks like he's got that eye for goal again, and his ownership is so low, and he's a good price. I actually really like it. Probably prefer him to Saka, but I think just because of how highly owned Saka was, I've kind of been sucked in. But do you think these Arsenal players are critical this week? Think we really need them? Like Sheffield United are pretty poor.
I watched the Champions League highlights. He looked good. He didn't look like he was struggling too much. I know he did go down in that game, and they had to give him medical attention. But I think he's the best asset from Arsenal. I think if you're looking at Arsenal attack, yeah, Saka's probably number one. But I'll be interested to see how long Jesus is out for because I'm not sure whether that was a serious injury or whether it was just a reoccurrence of a niggling injury. But Nketiah might be worth looking at up top there. I think he's only 5.5.
5.5. He'd be good for a week. I think with Jesus, his goal was unbelievable in the Champions League, and his assist was good. And after that, I was like, I'm putting him straight in as a striker. He's come in. I don't even need to bother with Saka. I don't need anyone else. It's all about Jesus. He's going to get a big haul against Sheffield United, and then, like you said, he ended up with a potential hamstring injury. And I think when you get players like Jesus with hamstring strains and knocks, you just can't put him in because his injury record is just so bad. So, or
even Odegaard. Odegaard's probably the forgotten person in that attack.
Yeah, he's gone a bit quiet lately, and I've seen a few Arsenal fans even say like they want to see him, put in a performance this weekend. It sounds like he's gone a little bit quiet. So, but it's going to be an interesting one. But you expect them to beat Sheffield United, really. Like they're, these home games in the Premier League, that they should be 3 points. Arsenal should be beating these teams easy, especially if they want to be in a title race.
I know United made them look like they were really good, but they weren't. We were just bad.
Sheffield United. They actually beat them last week. Yeah. Well, a lot of people were saying, look at the Spurs game. It was difficult to beat Sheffield United. It was 2-1. But honestly, that game could have easily been 4 or 5-1. And it was justified with how much stoppage time there was that day. So, yeah, like you said, don't be fooled. Sheffield United, they're not up to much this season. Let's bring up some more comments. We'll quickly get your score prediction then, Q, and then give us your best 3 Arsenal players to own.
I'm going to say 3-0 to Arsenal. And I think Saka, I have Saka, Odegaard, Saliba.
Yeah, I like that. I think. What about Gabriel?
See, I prefer Saliba over Gabriel, but then again, when you're looking at the price difference, if you don't have the money to go to Saliba, Gabriel's obviously the next best option. I'm not considering White at all. I'd have, if I was looking at defensive assets, I've got it. Saliba, David Raya, and then Gabriel in third.
No, I like that. Good choices there from Q. We'll do Bournemouth Burnley in a sec. Let's bring up some comments that have come in onto the ball. He's praying for an Arsenal and Villa clean sheet. Two Blues, welcome to the podcast, mate. I hope you're well. He's asking if Tsimikas will start. 100% he will, because he was rested last night. Great pick, Tsimikas. Great pick. PSB, the legendary Mbeumo, getting a double-digit haul at the bridge with 2 dodgy pens. I can see him returning in that game, like I said before. Two Blues will probably vouch in the comments. Chelsea have definitely improved, but when Sanchez is making those types of mistakes, there's potential for anyone to score at any moment. And Mbeumo is one of he's a huge threat. I think he's quite fixture-proof, Mbeumo. Bit of love for Q there from FPL SideNet. Two Blues has asked, also, his midfield 4 is Mbeumo, Palmer, Diaby, Maddison, and he got He-Chan on the bench, but thinking Mbeumo out, I've got 6.7 in the bank. Bloody, that's a lot of money. Wonder if he can get to Salah. I'm trying to think if he can get to Salah with that. Surely you can get to Salah with that money from Mbeumo.
I'd nearly go... Yeah, probably Mbeumo out or Diaby.
Not with Luton this week.
Yeah, that is tough.
Keep Diaby.
If he
can go Mbeumo to Salah, if he can do that straight swap, he's got to do it.
He should, because I think Mbeumo's what, 6'6", 6'7"?
Should be about that. So if he should, like Salah's 12.8. So if he's got enough to exactly get Salah in, for me, he's got to do it. If he can't, then I think Saka.
Yeah, I'll have a look now, but I'm
Saka.
Sure.
Have a look. I think Saka.
Yeah, 6'7", so you definitely have enough there.
Yeah, it's got to be Salah, unless he's trying to do no Liverpool players in, which is fair enough.
I don't blame him, but I've had to. I've caved.
So he might go Mbeumo in now because we're kind of talking him up. He's got Sanchez in goal onto the ball. That's sorry to hear, mate. So is Two Blues. To be fair, Sanchez actually kept some clean sheets in FPL this season. Two Blues is a Chelsea fan, so to have Cole, Sanchez, and Palmer, I like that. I like when people who support their team actually put their players in, regardless of if they've been winning games or not, or end results. So that's pretty good. We've had some more comments come in, so I'll tell you what, we'll get through the comments and then we'll do Bournemouth Burnley. Jermaine said he's not got enough money for that advice. He's got nothing in the bank, but thanks. Sorry.
No, that's right. I did a deep dive on Doherty and I realised he's only started 1 fixture. I thought it was 2, but yeah.
No, fair enough, mate. What's our take on Adingra versus Palmer? Palmer every day for me, if you're going to pick. Reason I'm just going to say that is because although Adingra may start this weekend and he could possibly get a good score, I just don't think you're going to get that longevity out of many Brighton players. You will with Matoma, Lewis Dunk, those types, but the rest is so much rotation, whereas Palmer seems pretty nailed in that Chelsea team. He's on pens, but he's actually looking a threat outside of the pens as well. So for me, it's got to be Cole Palmer. Plus, look, Chelsea's fixtures are quite difficult, but there's going to be a time where they even out. They actually get quite good at thinking about 4 or 5 game weeks. So for me, yeah, it's got to be Palmer. What do you think on that one, Q?
What was that? Sorry?
Out of Adingra or Palmer?
Probably Palmer, because we've seen he's on penalties. He's going to be starting, whereas Adingra, I think from eye test, he looked fantastic. But as we spoke about Brighton, they've done a lot of rotation, and yeah, this could be a fixture where he gets rotated and, left frustrated if you chose him over Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer looks a good player as well. I think Palmer's going to be someone, all it's going to take is another goal this weekend, and there's going to be a lot more talk about him in FPL. But once Chelsea get that good fixture on in like 4 or 5 weeks, we're going to be seeing wildcard drafts all with Palmer in it as a fifth midfielder. So, yeah, get ready for it. Hi, boys, love the pod. Thanks, mate. Yeah, please subscribe if you're new here. Give the video a like and check out Q as well. There is his tag, Quentin at FPLAmateursOfAus. How was asked, shall I captain Saka? I think he's a good pick, especially if you don't have Salah.
Yeah, he's a good pick. We're still in the same conundrum we were with Son the other week, where obviously there was an injury cloud, and but yeah, he's got one of the best fixtures this week, so I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to captain Saka. I didn't even think of it actually. I was sort of more focused on Watkins and Salah, but yeah, definitely Saka's a good option.
Big man, Aaron, should I keep Alvarez and Haaland in and keep my free transfer to get Salah in next week, or just get Watkins in now? That's tough. It's tough. How much damage will Watkins do to you against Luton compared to having Alvarez and Haaland? We haven't covered off Man United, Man City yet, but they could both score in that game. Free transfer to get in. I think you need to, if you've got an opportunity to get Salah for next week, I think but then if Haaland's got Bournemouth anyway, so you might not miss out on much. Q, I'm going to hand this one to you to start off with. I need your thoughts.
This is a really tough one, but I think Watkins could do a number on Luton this week, in my opinion. And I could see Haaland scoring against United, but I could also see Alvarez scoring against United, and that means that there's going to be bonus shared amongst their team, whereas all Watkins has to do is score and have a couple of more chances, and you're almost looking at 3 bonus or close to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah, I think get Watkins in now. Think about what's happening this week.
Because is there any other way that he can get to Salah next week if he does take that move? So say if he went Haaland to Watkins, would he have enough money in the bank there to then go to Salah next week, or are you not willing to part with Haaland?
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, if he's not willing to part with Haaland, because Haaland's got a good game next week, he could do the Watkins one this week. And if it takes a -4 to bring Salah in next week somewhere else, then I think that's what he's got to do. PSB with his good question here. He's got taken out Haaland this game week, so it's down to Haaland versus Big Dom Solanke for me, and there's only one winner. Big Dom Solanke. I think that's a good little avenue into this Bournemouth-Burnley game. So let's go into that. I'll start with Bournemouth. Solanke is definitely the best pick right now. So if you've got him, you've got to start him. Tough game this for both teams. They're both Bournemouth are looking probably worse for me at the moment. I've heard a lot of rumours that they're about to let go of their coach as well. Burnley, I do really like Foster for this week. 1.7% owned. I was looking earlier. I think from 7 starts, he's returned 4 times, which is unbelievable for a 5 million striker. And then he was also banned for 2 other games. I think he's a really good pick this week. I can see this being, I think Burnley are going to get a win in this as well. 2-1 to Burnley. They won't get the clean sheet. I think Solanke scores. I think Foster scores. I think Burnley and Vincent Kompany will get that win this weekend. But Q, what do you think?
Mate, I'm pumped to see big old Dom Salami versus Foster this week, and I'm gonna go.
That's the real battle this week.
It's the budget battle off. So I'm gonna go Burnley 3-2 in a high scoring fixture, and probably low key, probably the best fixture. Yeah, I think there's gonna be goals. Burnley love to attack, and Bournemouth, I don't think are great defensively, and I feel like Solanke doesn't need many opportunities to score, and I could definitely see him getting 2 or 3 opportunities in this fixture. On the counter, Burnley are horrible defending the counter attacks because they push so many people forward. They get left vulnerable, and Big Dom Salami, he's probably one of the best strikers on the counter. So
yeah, it's going to be a goal feast, isn't it? Which is good because I'm bringing Foster in. So happy days there. We'll do Wolves Newcastle in a second. Zada, just put my team on your Twitter live stream if you can.
I've got it up if you want me to read it.
Yeah, go on, read it out. Q's done us a huge favour, and he's going to read it out for you, mate, live on the stream. So let's do it.
Yep. So his goalkeepers, he's got Turner and Areola. Then he's got Cash, Taylor, Gehi, Byrne, Udogi, Salah, Madison, Son, Neto, Ward-Prowse, then Watkins, Haaland, and Mbama with 0.3 in the bank and 2
Did you
free
say
transfers.
he had Salah?
Yeah. And he's got 2 free transfers and 0.3 in the bank.
And who are the strikers? Haaland, Mbama, and Watkins?
Yeah.
It's got a pretty good team.
Yeah.
It's got a pretty good team. Read that defence again.
Udogi, Byrne, Gehi, and Taylor and Cash. So I'd actually nearly suggest maybe Udogi to Poro or to an Arsenal defender.
I'm thinking
Saliba
Gehi to Tsimikas.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Gehi to Tsimikas. Keep the other one. Captain Salah. Rest of the team seems pretty good. Is there anyone in midfield? Is he got them? He doesn't have the money to swap. Like, even though I really like Neto, we'll do Wolves Newcastle in a second. I really like Neto, but I think if you can get Matoma ahead of him, I think that's quite a good one as well.
Well, if you could downgrade somewhere and try go Ward-Prowse to Bowen, but
or Ward-Prowse to Matoma.
Yeah,
I think Ward-Prowse to Matoma is a good one. But then again, do you want to take Ward-Prowse out before this Everton game? West Ham have got good fixtures. I think if you can just get Tsimikas in and save too, because he's got a strong team and he's pretty sorted with Salah and Haaland in his team as well. So, good luck with your choices, mate. Two Blues podcast can get Salah in. Salah in from Mbeumo. We've sold him. I think you've got to do it. Well, the reality is with Salah, and we'll do Wolves Newcastle actually now. So one of my transfers, Neto, who I've been raving about this season in FPL, he's returned in every game but I think 1 or 2. Great FPL asset. High chance of scoring this week or at least getting another assist. And next week against Sheffield United. But I looked at it and thought, Neto's next 2 games are Newcastle and Sheffield United. Saka's next 2 games are, 3 games included Spurs as well. Saka's 3 games were also Sheffield United, Newcastle, and then Burnley. And I was like, who would I prefer? As much as I love Neto, I prefer Saka every time. And then I had baby Haaland, Højlund as my striker, who's just not done anything in the 2 games. And look, I've got him for long term, but I had to sell him for Foster from Burnley because I thought, you know what, like Burnley against Bournemouth, I think they got Forest. They got a bunch of like games against teams around them. I thought he'll pick up points. So Two Blues podcast has got to look at the same method with Mbeumo. Like, he will score goals. He might even score against Chelsea, but Salah's a captain. Salah's someone you captain. So you've got to make that move. But let's do Wolves Newcastle. Like I said before, Neto, good pick. Newcastle coming off the back of a difficult Champions League defeat. So really liking Neto, liking He-Chan as well. I think they're great picks. I like Gary O'Neill, and the Wolves are playing like they're... Last season, you couldn't even buy a goal out of this Wolves team, whereas now they're scoring every game. They're attacking every game. So I'm actually liking their players. Newcastle, it's tough to see if... I'm not sure if they'll get a clean sheet this week. But again, if you got Trippier, you've got to play Trippier because he's just... he's grabbing points every week, regardless of if they concede a goal. So, interesting fixture this. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Newcastle win on the road. I think Neto will return, Trippier with an assist, maybe sort of Callum Wilson and Gordon to grab some returns. But Q, what are your predictions for this one, and what are you thinking FPL-wise?
I do like the shout of Cunha for Wolves up top there. I think he's only, 5.5, like around that same price range as Foster. So he's worth probably looking at this fixture. Probably don't like it from an attacking point of view just because I think Newcastle defensively look pretty good. But made valid points about Neto. I think he's just been consistent every week. In terms of Newcastle, obviously that news that broke might have been yesterday about Tonali. He's going to serve a 10-month suspension, so he's out
for the rest of it.
Rest of the season.
Bad. Gambling's bad, and and it's awful what's happened. But
I feel
big blow
bad
to
for Newcastle
Yeah.
in this because guaranteed AC Milan knew what was happening.
Yeah, but you got to do your due diligence as a club. Like if you're Newcastle and you're spending, what did they buy him for? 60 million, 60 million?
Yeah.
You know, if you're paying that much money for someone, you've got to, again, you don't know though. Did AC Milan know? They
like it's
might have
almost
been able
like
to
they were happy
disguise
to
it.
let him go, and I'm thinking, why would they let a player that good go? And then now I'm sitting there going, did they know? Because
It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one.
But
what are you thinking score prediction?
I think I'm gonna say 2-0 to Newcastle. And I think with that news with Tonali missing, I know I said Anderson would probably start in that deeper role, which he didn't. He was actually benched, but I think he's still a decent option as an enabler because Tonali did play on the weekend before the ban come out, so he's not going to be playing now. So I think Anderson goes back into that midfield three, which I think at 4.4 he's a good enabler for people that are looking to try get to Salah or, try find funds to get other players in.
No, I like that. I like that Anderson pick because you got someone that's starting in that midfield. I'm not sure what Longstaff would he be around?
I'm not sure because Anderson was starting when Tonali had a niggle.
Because Longstaff scored last week.
Yeah, and who was the wide player that scored all the points last week that looked like an absolute machine?
Yeah, Jacob Murphy randomly appears with some big scores.
Yes, he had a shoulder complaint. They said I heard the other day, so he's in doubt for this fixture. But last season when he did play, he scored goals and got assists. So if he's gonna take that role out wide there, I think he's another good pick as well.
No, I like that. Christian said 2 things he did see was a bit of talk about Lascelles. So here's one: Lascelles from Newcastle, cheap option right now. Possibly won't be long term, but right now, good option. And Cash playing high minutes last night. Just for anyone planning transfers, that's the thing with Matt Cash. That's a good point. Like we'll go into Villa in a second, but yeah, Matt Cash looked knackered last week in the second half of that Villa West Ham game. So yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on. Please get your comments in. Deadline is in the early hours of the morning here in Australia, late at night or evening time UK. So get your questions in ready for deadline. Give this video a like, subscribe, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done already. Also, go check me out on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at FPLMattDay, and also check out Quentin at FPLAmateursOfAus. We'll go into West Ham versus Everton in a second. Let's bring up this question from big man Aaron. Haaland out, Watkins in. I'm going to say no. Keep Haaland because he will score this week and he will score a couple of goals against Bournemouth next game week. I do really like Watkins, but I'm still picking Haaland over Watkins if I really had to. But Q might have a different opinion on this because I know he's Haaland out at the moment.
It just depends. If you have Alvarez as cover, I wouldn't be just if you have Alvarez as cover, I think I'm okay with that. As Matt said, I don't have Haaland. I got him out on the wild card, and I've decided that I'm going to keep him out to about week 16. I think when they play, is it Luton? I think in week 16. And then they have harder fixtures after this Bournemouth fixture. So I like it because I think you're going to get a lot more points from Watkins. If I was to compare Watkins and Haaland to week 16, I think Watkins outscores Haaland convincingly, in my opinion.
Wow, convincingly.
I could say like an 8 points plus.
Big call. But no, look, there you go, big man, Aaron. Big man, Aaron. Whoever you want to pick. Look, I think, to be honest, I actually agree with you. If you've got Alvarez's cover, I think you can do it. If you don't, I think you keep Haaland. But to be fair, it's worked for Q so far. He's working for Q so far. And long may it continue for Q.
As much as I'm a Man United supporter, it could all go to shit when we see Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire line up in the center of the pitch.
Yeah, you could be in some trouble. FPL Rue, welcome to the stream. Big up from the Gold Coast. Hope you are well, mate. He's wanting to hear some Fergie-licious talk from Q, which will happen when we cover Brighton versus Fulham. Go check out FPL Rouge channel. Give him a subscribe. Fellow Spurs fan as well. He will be doing a video tonight as well. So once me and Q are done here, go straight to FPL Rouge channel and go and check out his stream as well. If you've got more questions, let's go and we'll go through the other questions. We've got questions from Big Man, Aaron, Yo. There's quite a few other people in the stream. FPL Mez, welcome to the stream as well. Shift 3R, plenty of people in here. So we'll bring up your comments in a sec. Let's go up to this West Ham Everton game first. For me, I would not be looking at any Everton players right now. There's no one I'm keen on. Not for me. I'm not impressed with them right now. West Ham, Bowen, brilliant pick. Good fixture for him. Areola, good pick for this week in this game. Don't mind Paquetá as well, or Paqueta. It's probably it for me for right now. I know Q's got a bit of a soft spot for Soufal, but I feel like Soufal's someone from a couple of years ago for FPL. He's just not liking this West Ham defence at all. So I think for me, yeah, if you've got Bowen, Areola, yeah, you play him. And I think West Ham win this comfortably, 2-0 with Bowen. Bowen probably at the double this week. But Q, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-1 to West Ham. I think they rested a few players in the Europe fixture, so I think they're going to come out firing. I think we might see Kudus get some starting minutes this week, and I definitely think he, outside Bowen, is a player worth looking at, because if he's going to get consistent game time, we saw what he did in the Champions League last year. He could be a nice little differential pick over there. Decent run of games. I think till about 16, 17, they've got good fixtures. So I think Bowen, and then obviously Areola is the obvious one. But yeah, maybe keep an eye on Kudus if he is getting good minutes. I think he could be the pick that people are trying to get in.
No, I agree with Kudus. He was unreal in Champions League fantasy last year. Scored against Newcastle a few weeks ago. If he can get that start for West Ham, he's got potential to be such a good pick. I want him to get the start, so then Bowen's goals and assists are shared out, because I don't own Bowen, and I'm gutted about not owning Bowen. So that's West Ham Everton. Sorry, I missed. What was your score prediction again, Q?
3-1.
3-1 West Ham. That's right.
To West Ham, yeah.
We'll do Villa Luton in a second. That's a big game for FPL this week as well. But let's bring up this question from Big Man Aaron. He's 8th in his mini league. Do I firm 4 points for Salah next week? I'm sitting on 499 points, which is pretty good. It's a good score at this stage, I think. Yeah, I would. You've got to. If it's all it is a -4 to bring Salah in against Luton, then I think you just do it.
Yeah, I think so too, because those -4, he might only end up with 20 points for you. He could easily have 24 points in that fixture. So,
no, I agree. Well, we're doing Villa Luton now, so we'll talk about this Watkins question in a second. Let's start with Luton. Probably no one this week that you're going to target. Look, if Morris is your third striker and you've got no one else to play, no one else that you can play, you can still put Morris in. He finds ways to get returns. And Luton have picked up some results of late, so they're not as bad as what a lot of people are making out, I don't think. But Villa are on fire, not just in general. They obviously won 4-1 in the Europa League conference, but their home record at Villa Park under Emery has been absolutely unbelievable. So I think they'll win this game. I'm going to go, and they're scoring a lot of goals at home. I'll go 3-0 to Villa. Watkins to score. He'll miss a sack full of chances like he does every single home game and every single match he plays. And it will look like he should have had 3 or 4 goals, but he'll end up with 1, I reckon. Maybe an assist in there as well. And then maybe FPL Rouge pick of John McGinn, I think, might actually grab a goal this week. And Leon Bailey scored a couple in the Conference League. Maybe he'll come off and get another one. Oh, no, Diaby. Let's go Diaby, who I'm gutted I don't have as well. I wish I had him in on my wild card as a 5th midfielder. So, yeah, 3-0 Villa for me. Q, score prediction and players to target, and then we'll answer the question on the screen.
I'm going to go 3-1 Villa. I think this could be a nice fixture for Watkins again. He's looked incredible. He's he's actually sort of doing what Kane used to do, get involved in the build-up play, but also be in the box for the finish as well. So I think that just says FPL points to me. And FPL roommate, he's a smart fella, because if you listen to our podcast last week, I was all over him again. I think he's a good option. He's always on the ball, and he's always in the box making those runs, and then the ball spills out, and he always has a great shot on him. So yeah, I think he could be a nice differential option, apart from obviously Douglas Luiz or Diaby. So I had McGinn as the second best attacking asset for this fixture, with Villa, and then having Luiz as a third attacking option behind. So
I like that. Yeah, John McGinn just reminds me of when Villa got promoted back into the Premier League, and all the hype was put John McGinn in your FPL team. He's got to be in your FPL team. And now the John McGinn hype is back. But Watkins, keep or sell. If you own Watkins, keep him. Do not even think about selling him.
Forever. Keep him forever.
Yeah, Q's loving Watkins. Yeah, got to keep him now. Do not sell him. Anytime, Zada and Two Blues Podcast. Thanks for coming onto the stream, mate. Good luck for the game week. Christian is also on 499 points in the School Staff League. He's got a 4-way tie on 499 in that league. I misread that a second. Yeah, sounds like a pretty intense league. Shifter said Burn pick. I think he means to pick Dan Burn, which I don't mind. He's in my team. FPL Mez, welcome to the stream. I hope you're good. FPL Roo, Murphy's injured apparently. Q. Jacob Murphy.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, he's got a shoulder complaint, so that's why I sort of was a little bit hesitant on saying he's definitely a pick, because it's the injury cloud. But yeah, I like the Anderson pick. I think if I was going to go someone a bit cheaper,
Samikas for me from this one out of Burn or Samikas.
Yeah, Samikas. I think the attacking upside outweighs Burn's attacking upside.
We've got a few more questions that have come in, so if you are still watching, please get your questions in. Like the stream if you haven't done, and hit that subscribe button. Let's do Brighton-Fulham. Brighton coming off the back of a nice win in Europe. Fulham beaten by Quentin's dad's Tottenham Hotspur side against Fulham. Q's basically Ange Postecoglou's son now. So
Quentin Postecoglu, mate.
Yeah, Quentin Postecoglu. He's basically Ange's son.
Get me a ticket over there.
Yeah, I won't hear anything other than Q isn't Ange's son. So Fulham obviously were on the wrong end of a defeat by Q's dad. Brighton winning in Europe. This is tough. I never know what to think about with Brighton. I really like Matoma this week. I think he's a great pick. But outside of that, I just don't know who is good to pick from Brighton, because they get injuries, they change their team. You never know who's going to start. So for me, it's just Matoma and no one else really. They even rotate their goalkeepers. So yeah, Matoma's the pick. 2-0 Brighton. And I think that will be that for me for this one. And yeah, aim for Matoma. What do you reckon, Q?
I'm going to say 3-1 Brighton, and I want to talk about my man, FPL Roo mentioned him earlier, Fergie-licious Ferguson. We saw that Welbeck is injured, so come off the man, come off the hour. So I think I said this on our pod this week and then last week as well, that I think Brighton are going to be using Pedro in those European matches, because he started every single European fixture that they've had so far. And I think Fergalicious is going to be the player that's going to start in the Prem. So, I love him. If I had needed to start another player this week, I would have taken out Hoyland from Wish and brought in Fergalicious. But that's my plan in a week or two, to take out Hoyland and bring in Fergalicious, because I think, this is a fixture that he could score a double in, and he's not very highly owned either. I think he's about 6% owned. So, I like him and Matoma, my two picks for this week in this fixture.
And what was your score prediction?
I think I said 3-1. 3-1.
Yeah, I agree. Matoma's a good pick. Ferguson could be a good pick for this game. So loving that Q. We'll do Liverpool Forest in a second. We'll bring up a couple of comments. FPL Roo is done Botman, Rashford, and Buemo to Lascelles, Salah, and Adgrina. I like the Salah one. Salah has to come in. Lascelles makes sense because it's sideways, because Botman's injured. Rashford's terrible, so yeah, get rid of him. To be fair, that actually looks quite good because you got Salah out of that. To get Salah out of that, it's not too bad. What I will say, because he's probably going to captain Salah, so like it's probably going to be okay, especially if Salah gets a couple of goals. But yeah, I'd probably say that's good moves to get Salah in. What do you reckon?
I was looking at FootMob. It's saying that Botman's due back this week, but I haven't heard anything out of the Newcastle camp to say that he's fit. So
no, there's other people saying 11th of November, according to like the Premier League website and stuff. So yeah, imagine that if Botman's fit and plays. But nah, I think they're good moves from Rue.
If Rashford didn't have his Stevie Wonder glasses on and avoiding passing to Højlund, he probably would have had a few returns last week.
I know. Look, long may it continue. Hopefully his price keeps taking a dive and then he comes into form like he did last season, second half of the year, and then he becomes a good cheap asset again. That'd be nice. Talking of West Ham, Areola did. But I tell you what, I think he played because Olympiacos away is probably their toughest game in that group. So they went quite strong, although they didn't start Bowen. So that was a bit of a surprise. But I think they probably thought, yeah, away game, start Areola. It'd be pretty disappointed if Fabianski decides to come back in the team this week. But yeah, I can't imagine he will. But yeah, he did, mate. So yeah, that's a good call. Let's do Liverpool Forest, and then we'll bring up the other comments. Again, I wouldn't be targeting anyone from Forest. It's all Liverpool this week. Salah, best pick, best captain for the week, in my opinion. Tsimikas, great transfer if you can get him in. He's already got a clean sheet under his belt last week and got an early sub as well. Darwin Núñez, I know he got 66 minutes or whatever it was in the Europa. Interesting asset. Like he's someone that looks like he's always going to get 13 points, and then he always ends up with 4 or 3 or 1, and it's a frustrating player to own. But again, if you've got him, you've got to keep him. Luis Diaz, again, if you've got him, you keep him this week. Forest tend to concede quite a few goals at the sort of traditional top 6 sides, other than Chelsea, who they beat this season. But they went to Old Trafford and let 3 goals in. So I think Liverpool will win this clearly 3-0. Salah with a goal. I think the goals will be shared this week, though. I'll go Salah, Darwin to score. I think Trent will be a good pick, under 10% owned currently, which I didn't think you'd get on Trent for a long time. So I think he's a good pick this week. So yeah, 3-0 Liverpool for me.
I'm going to go 3-1. I think we're going to see a goal from Nottingham Forest in this, but I think Liverpool are going to dominate a majority of this game. And I actually have a feeling that Núñez might start up top because he saw Jota played the full game. And that's probably and Núñez only got half a game. So I think the biggest threat to Núñez starting is Jota. And I think this could be a fixture they play Núñez up top and play Diaz and Salah. And then because Gakpo, I don't think he's back yet either. I think he's still out injured. So if you got Núñez, I think hold him because there's every chance that he could start or he gets maybe 30, 40 minutes off the bench as well. But I think Salah is probably the best captaincy. I think when I did my captaincy rankings the other day, I had Salah, then I had Watkins and Son, and then Haaland. So, he's going to be a great option. And I think Diaz, it was upsetting that I had to sell him this week, but I wanted to make the move to Saka this week, so I got him out. But I think he's a good option this week as well.
No, I agree. And I think it's interesting with Liverpool because they're picking up results. They're looking good. They're doing well, but we're only really talking about owning Salah, Darwin. Some people got Diaz. It's not like I know there's Tsimikas is coming now because he's cheap, but I don't know. It's not like there's a nailed Liverpool triple up that you kind of need in your team right now, which just feels a bit unusual for Liverpool. But anyway, Salah, best captain option this week.
I think there's one person also to look at from this fixture. I brought him up in our pod last week. Anthony Alenga as a bit of an enabler.
From Forest.
In the midfield there. He's looked really good since starting. And once Awani's back, I could see some decent points coming from them too. And, their fixture run, I don't think is too bad over the next. I think it's a bit mixed at the moment, but once they hit that good run of fixtures, I definitely think he's someone that's worth looking at this week to see for down the track.
If Anthony Elanga scores in this, it's going to be up there with. I went on FPL Ruse Pod the other week, and he said Chris Wood was a great pick, and he come out and scored 2 goals. So if Elanga does that,
it's the opposite to me. I said nothing ends good with Chris Wood on our podcast leading into the last fixture. So
it's phenomenal.
Yeah, he can thank me for that because I spurred him on.
Right, let's do the last fixture, and then we'll go through all the comments that have come in because there's been plenty of comments that we need to get through. So keep getting your questions in. Give the video a like, please, if you haven't done, and subscribe if you're new and you've joined the channel for the first time. Manchester United versus Man City. I will start on this because I sold Baby Haaland, Højlund. I sold him this week, regretfully, because I brought him in on wildcard for the Brentford and Sheffield United games and for this run for Man United where they play like Everton, Luton, all these good fixtures after this. And I didn't want to sell him because I feel like he's got goals in him. And this could be the fixture. And if it's not this week, it's the Fulham one next week. And I regret it, but I needed to. I just felt, I felt I needed Saka in that midfield. So I'm regretting it a bit. But I thought United were absolutely awful against Copenhagen in the week, like really, really poor. They missed a pen, they hit the woodwork, controlled a lot of the game. But it's a derby, and United did win this last year. But this for me, I think if City can put in, if they're on their game, I think they're going to win this game 3-1. Haaland with 2, Alvarez will score. City are going to come away with the win. Maybe a Bruno or a Rashford goal, possibly. Hopefully not a Højlund one. And City to win this comfortably 3-1, I think. But Q, we need your thoughts because you're in the United shirt on the podcast again after I had banned you from wearing it. But we'll let you off.
You'll never
we'll let you off because you're
down.
Ange's kid now. But we'll. What do you think on this? What do you think on Højlund? Are you going to keep him or are you going to sell him?
No, I'm going to keep him. Just these fixtures coming up because they've got Fulham, then they've got Luton, and then they've got Everton. So I'm holding him. So I'll put him on the bench as my first sub. I'm torn in this fixture because I'm not sure how we're going to line up. We saw Varane's back, so whether Varane starts in the middle with Maguire or whether he starts in the middle of Lindelof. So that's probably I can make a decision now, and then if I turn on the game and we have Johnny Evans starting in the center of the park, like it could be a murder. But I'm going to say, to be realistic, I think 2-0 to Man City. I could see happening, and I think I already think Haaland's going to score. But there's another part of me that says we could maybe get something out of this game, maybe a 1-1 draw. Yeah, like a 1-1 draw. I don't think there's going to. Touch wood, because I said the same thing about when we played Liverpool last season and that freak result was 7-0. I can't see a thrashing, but I think there's going to be goals. And I think if you have Haaland or Alvarez, I definitely could see them getting a return each. But I don't think it's going to be a thrashing. A lot of people are sort of licking their lips thinking it's going to be 6-7-0. But
no, it won't be that.
Yeah, I think we're too proud to lose to Man City like that. But then again, I said the same thing against... Yeah, it's happened before. I think it was 6-3 we lost. Was it last season to Man City as well?
I think Ten Hag will tighten it up, and he'll rather the game be lost 1-0 type of scoreline as opposed to being absolutely hammered and just going for it. And I think he knows he can possibly get away with that this week. So.
The ingredients are there for us to turn up this week. It's just like Højlund could have had multiple goals against Copenhagen. He could have had multiple goals against Sheffield. They're not linking up and attacking. Every time he makes the good runs, gets into great positions, the ball's not anywhere near him. So if they can sort that out, I think that's probably the biggest thing that can make this fixture competitive and get us something out of this game. But if they just play like they did last week and not pass the ball around and give the early ball, I think, we could be in for a long night.
Yeah, there's definitely goals in Højlund or Baby Haaland. There's definitely goals in him coming up. and I'm going to miss them because I've sold them from my team. But I just couldn't cope having a United player in at the moment where we've both watched United this season. There's no cohesion in that team. There's just no style of play right now, and they could probably do with Big Ange, to be honest. But that's Man United versus Man City.
I think just looking at those next 3 fixtures, I know people hate United assets. They're really frustrated, but I don't even mind holding them, even if you don't want to play them this week, because Luton's a great fixture for us. Fulham,
a great fixture, aren't they?
Us. Yeah. Everton, 50-50, but yeah, I think if you want to hold and then look at who you're going to downgrade to or upgrade to in maybe 3-4 weeks, that's another option.
No, I think you're right. The fixtures are good. With my team, I was just looked at it and thought Neto and Højlund or Saka and Foster from Burnley. And I just thought Saka's next 3 of Sheffield United, Newcastle, which is tough, but then Burnley at home. It's just better than owning. Look, Neto's also got Spurs in the next 3. He's got Sheffield United, and Højlund's fixtures get better. I just thought Saka and Foster probably just edged it, but we'll see. Look, if Højlund scores, he scores.
He's not going to hurt you, though. That's probably the biggest difference.
It won't hurt me. It would just be a shame because I was talking him up so much the last few weeks, only for him to do absolutely nothing. And I brought him in UCL fantasy as well. And then the moment I sell him,
so did I.
And I'll probably sell him in UCL fantasy in the next round, and then he'll bang a goal in. But that's our fixture wrap up. We'll go through some differentials and captains in a second. Let's bring up all these comments. Plenty of comments are coming in, which is great. So we're going to bring them up. We've got some new viewers in as well. So please give the video a like, subscribe if you're new, and get your comments in. Zada, he's got 0.7 in the bank. Maddison to Saka, worth it after this 0 in the bank. Nah, you can't sell Maddison. It's not just because I've got a Spurs shirt on. We'll ask non-bias Q. Well, I say he's non-bias.
I have no connection to Spurs whatsoever. I just think Spurs are one of the best attacking sides in the Premier League. So if this wasn't Spurs, would we be saying, say Saka was 7.9 and Maddison was 8.6, would you be like, oh, should I be getting out Saka to go to Maddison? I'd probably say no, because if Saka was in the better attacking team than what Maddison was, then I don't know. I just can't. I wouldn't be getting out Spurs assets, at least in the short term.
What I was saying the other week, last week when we were on the deadline stream together, Q, was Maddison hasn't scored a free kick for Spurs yet. And we know how good he is at set pieces. And I feel like that free kick's coming soon. It could be this Palace game.
We scored one the other day.
Yeah, he did.
He lined up for it, and that was what was replaying in my head, was your voice going, he hasn't scored a free kick yet.
Yeah. Well, the other thing as well, and this is what a lot of people that are selling Maddison, if Son hadn't gotten his way the other day, because he ran across him, and if Maddison slots in that second one, if that goes in, Son would have had, obviously, has a goal and assist. Maddison would then end up on 2 goals. How many people would then be thinking, nah, I'm done with Maddison. I've got my points out of him. Or would they be saying, now I've got to keep this guy? It's going to be interesting because, I just think Maddison right now you keep. And I did listen to a really good stat earlier as well about James Maddison. And they were talking of the last 5 years in the Premier League, combined goal and assist, or combined attacking out goal involvements and from midfielders. And Kevin De Bruyne was number 1 with over 100 goal and assist moments. But Maddison was number 2 on 84 combined goal and assist, or moments leading to goals, something like that. And he's been in a Leicester team that struggled, got relegated. He's phenomenal. And he's showing this season now he's in a team, that's performing higher, how good he is. So, Maddison he's an absolute keep for me for at least this week with this Palace side. But, I would keep Maddison, and Q is of the agreement. FPLMattDay is doing well, but she's going without Spurs assets and hopes you can ignore the first match. Well, my bit of advice would be definitely just do not wake up. Don't watch it. Maybe just don't check the score. What do you reckon on that? What do you reckon on that one, Q? No Spurs assets. But look,
Take a sleeping tablet.
Could
Sleep
work. What if
through to about
Spurs could
10
lose?
o'clock. Yeah, sleep till about 10 o'clock in the morning. Take a sleeping tablet. Is the only other option, I think. If you're not going to have a Spurs asset, just pop the sleeping tablet about 2 o'clock. Wake up at about 10. You're happy. You slept good.
It's going to be. It's one of them minutes. First game on. It's still a London derby. It's tough. Obviously, as a Spurs fan, I know the club slips up at a lot of these types of moments, but something just feels a bit different with Ange and what's going on at the moment. But yeah, look, you never know. FPLMattDay is a strong FPL player, so she could be right for this one.
Just talking back to Maddison quickly. So looking at chances created, if you want to compare, I guess, three popular midfield assets in Salah, Saka, and Maddison. Maddison's created 29 chances this season so far. Salah on 20 and Saka on 22.
Wow. Okay. So Maddison's he's just involved in everything. He's involved in everything. And here's another one as well in that game. Anderson is injured. Elise is injured. Eze is injured.
Is that the Anderson from
wait. Sorry, he means Anderson from Newcastle.
Anderson from Newcastle, mate. I'm not having a good run.
Sorry, I was thinking he meant the Anderson from Palace, and I was like, get in, that's another injury for Palace. Sorry, he means the Anderson from Newcastle. So I think Longstaff would then be the next good option then for Newcastle. He scored last week, so he's not the worst shout. Big man Arin is a United fan, maybe a little biased to taking out the City threats. And he meant Anderson from Newcastle. Football chat box, unsure to go Salah or Haaland still for the armband. I reckon Salah. Yeah, go Salah, mate. Also, you're a United fan, so but then at the same time, if you do captain Haaland and then he scores, then it's like kind of softens the blow a little bit as well. But I'd do Salah, mate, I think, from the two. Younes Fitness, welcome back to the channel, mate. He's done Botman to Gabriel because he's held Son and he doesn't have Saka, and he's captaining Watkins. He can't see Salah scoring 2 goals. You know what, though? Like, going back actually to what Football Chat Box just said about the captain, it is interesting because Salah has picked up a couple of doubles, but he's done it without actually really having any involvement in the game, and 2 of them were pens. And the one last week in the last minute, really, Darwin could have just shot and finished the game off. So, like, yeah, you never know. Interesting one. I think Salah will score at least 1 goal. Watkins is an opportunity to get at least a couple. Haaland, I'm still going to say just Salah. Safety.
It's a tough one. Watkins is a great shout this week, and probably more so the last 3 weeks, the captaincy has been probably the biggest rank boost, because obviously people that have Haaland have captained Haaland because, you know, if you have Haaland, any half-decent fixture, he's the captaincy option. But we've seen a lot of rank boost with people going like Son last week and Salah last week and then Salah the week before. So if you feel that Watkins could have a massive week, I'd back your gut, because if he does, you're going to be flying up the ranks. And I think that a lot of people that have Haaland are probably going to captain Haaland this week. So
that's a good point. And I will actually ask, let's do some captain picks now whilst we're on the topic of captain's queue. What I will ask, though, is why do you think a lot of managers aren't looking at captaining Son after he got a double-digit score the other day, now plays Palace away? We've seen how good he is on the road when he plays for Spurs as well. Or is this just not the fixture because maybe Palace might sit everyone behind the ball? Or, not seeing much Son talk as a captain this week.
Well, I had Son as my captain till Wednesday for this week, and then I sort of thought about it and went, looking at Nottingham Forest, they did go for a few chances last week. So I'm like, if they're going to give those up to Salah, they could be punished. But then, I don't know. It is strange. It is I know there's a bit of a hoodoo around that 6 o'clock kickoff. I think I've went a captaincy option in an early fixture before, and it's just been, I don't know, not as attacking as I'd hope for. But yeah, you're giving me a headache now, because now I'm thinking, should I have just left it on Son? So yeah, I definitely think there's a reasonable discussion to be had, because as we said, Crystal Palace have no one pretty much. Their defensive players are their star players at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if this look. No, I don't want to get too hyped up for Spurs because they normally just let me down if I do. But I wouldn't
Not this
mind
season,
I wouldn't mind a bit of the Southampton 0, Leicester 9 vibes, which was a Friday night kickoff a few years back. Can you imagine that? We wake up, Son scores.
Mate.
You know, was it Vardy got 4 or 5 goals? Son gets those. Madison gets a couple, gets the assist. Udogie appears. You know,
Mate,
doesn't
Australia have a
actually.
national public holiday if that happens.
Yeah, wouldn't they? That'd be brilliant. Let's go for your top 3 captains, Q.
I'd probably have Salah at 1, Watkins at 2, then Son in 3, actually, and then Haaland obviously in 4th, but I don't own Haaland, so those would be my 3.
I'm going to go Salah in 1, Saka in 2, only because I've done a captain's video and I've done Saka in 2nd, just because I thought home game, and then Watkins in 3, but I'll probably then put Son in 4, and then. Yeah, big curveball captains, probably like a Diaby from Villa or so, or Matoma. I think Matoma's a pretty good pick this week as well. There's a lot of good fixtures. Bowen as well. There's a lot of good ones this week. So, we'll see how it goes. Question from WB. Need a hit to get Watkins. It means downgrading either Foden or Bomo. Which should I remove and who for? I'd probably remove Foden. I feel like, is he even playing? Mbeumo, at least, he's going to play every week for Brentford. He takes pens, but Foden's just not on it. He's just not it for FPL so far this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd go Foden to Matoma.
Yeah, I agree. Shireen, welcome to the stream. I hope you're good. Who would you bring in between Alvarez or Watkins?
Yeah, Watkins.
They're both good, though. It's actually I feel like it's a bit of disrespect to Alvarez because he's been so good and he's got a good fixture next week, but I just think it's got to be Watkins.
I was talking to Shireen in later, probably an hour before we did the stream. So she has Haaland, so she was looking at going Haaland and Alvarez, or should I just go Watkins and Haaland? And I said, if you are going to keep Haaland, I definitely think Watkins is probably the better option. But I said, if you're willing to part ways with Haaland, I said, bring in Alvarez and have Watkins. So
it's not, that's the way to go. No, you're completely right. That's the way to go. Also, would you get rid of Bruno to get Alvarez or Watkins?
Yeah, I think I said as much as I think that they have the 3 good fixtures, I think you could downgrade Bruno and then, upgrade that third striker to Watkins or...
I agree. PSB, there was a point in the Copenhagen game where we were building up with 3-0-7 formation. Copenhagen, the team looks disjointed. I thought the exact same about United. It's just so strange. There seems to be
10 individuals are playing at the moment, and just no one's it was frustrating to watch because Højlund would be in the box waiting for the ball, he'd turn around and go, yep, and then we play the ball back, or we just lose possession, or just make a stupid pass to someone who has 3 people defending them. And we bought Højlund in because he needed a striker, yet we're not utilizing him as the striker. We're still just, using him like you're playing a false 9 up top. So it's just, it's frustrating.
It's strange. I'm not sure Ten Hag's the right guy. I know United have been through a lot of managers, but if you look at someone like Ange Postecoglou, and again, I'm probably being a bit biased because he's done well at Spurs, but I knew Postecoglou well when he as a coach at Celtic, when he was in the A-League, when he was in Japan, when he coached Australia. And there's something about the way he talks to his players, the way he talks to the fans, that I've not seen from Ten Hag at all. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. Yeah, no, he's not a bad coach. Yeah, he's very European in the way that he coaches, and Dutch, and I don't know. I just don't think that approach.
Get Kevin Muscat in there.
Yeah, Kevin. Mate, people might laugh, but you know what? He actually
he's been going good in the J League.
he's another Aussie coach to look out for that's got a bit he's learned from Ange Postecoglou. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But United fans at the start of the season, if I said to them, or other than Q, but most of them, if I'd said, "Oh yeah, this Ange Postecoglou, you should get him in as coach," they would have said, "Nah, no chance. Who's this clown?" But honestly, what he's Anyway, this is Let's go into the next comment. Christian
podcast feet.
Yeah. Vicario for captain is in his mind if I bring him in living dangerously. Wow. Big call.
No. I just don't think
imagine that though comes out double-digit score. That'd be
I just can't see it enough shots for him to get save points.
Good point. Yeah. How many shots are Palace getting really? That's a good point by Q. Like they're literally living off
shots, one on
shot
target, and the rest hitting old Daryl with his bucket of chips in the grandstand.
Yeah, they're living off like maybe 1 or 2 shots per the whole game, and like, yeah, this isn't the game for it. Yeah, maybe a double game week. If it was a double game week and it was 2 real strong clean sheets, you'd probably do it, mate. But
I love the way of thinking, though, looking outside the box, because this is the season to be sort of making those type of decisions, but not the Vicario captain.
Yeah. No, I like it as well. I think there's other players that you can pick. Any idea when the double game weeks for City and Brentford for game week 20 will be announced? I actually don't know. I've not looked into this one. I know the thing is that Ben Crellin normally knows, or Ben Dinnery, or Ben Crellin. No, Ben Crellin. Dinnery's the injury. It's Ben Crellin. One of the Bens. Yeah. Do you know Q?
Nah. But if it does get announced, I could be in trouble because I've already used my triple captaincy chip, so it could be.
Yeah, you'll be in big trouble. Haaland will end up with like
40 goals and
we'll see. PSB is very good at captain picks, and he's gone Salah 1, Saka 2, Watkins 3. So same order as me, which is good to hear. Christian, Matoma was going to be a firm choice, but then minutes last night might stick with Trippier, if not Vicario. Trippier's always a great captain shout.
Yeah, I like that.
Shireen Q, I reckon you just support Spurs and give up on United with Ange being Australian and all.
To be fair, I think I might buy a Spurs jersey for Lucas, so at least I can say, hey, if you want to support Spurs, mate, yeah, you don't deserve a life of suffering like myself. So,
oh mate, you'll get a huge suffering if he's. Then again, look, pre-Ange, it was a big suffering, but we're all hoping post-Ange that it changes. But Q's loving the Ange train. He's a big Ange fan, but he's just. I think a lot of people are liking Ange. He's a breath of fresh air.
He symbolizes what Australia is. Like, he's literally cracks jokes at press conferences. Doesn't take things too seriously. If someone's doing him dirty in the press, he'll call him out. He won't just sit there. He'll say something, and yeah, I love him. Good fella.
Yeah, he's good. Gabriel or Samikas, because I think he's got better up and coming. Well, actually, Arsenal got 4 really good fixtures in the next 6, but I think Samikas, because you can get Forest home and Luton away out of him over the next 2, and then you can probably change him out from there potentially. But I'd probably say Samikas edges it.
Yeah, go Simikas. You're going to get those 2 good fixtures, plus you're probably going to get a couple of price rises as well.
No, I agree. All right, let's go through some differentials, Q. I'm just going to read out my 3, and then we'll get your thoughts on yours if you've got some. So I've already spoke about this one a couple of times tonight. So I've got Foster from Burnley, 4 returns in 7 starts. He's got Bournemouth away. Burnley need to attack this game and need to go there and get a win. They need to win. Bournemouth are potentially on the verge of sacking their coach. He's 1.7% owned. 5 million, really big striker enabler if you need a more expensive midfield option. My next one, Gabriel Martinelli. He was less than 5% owned. Probably he's going to be a bit more than 5% owned now. Sheffield United home, on form, scored in the week in the Champions League. And then the next one is Trent Alexander-Arnold, 8.3% owned, so less than 10% owned for Trent, home to Forest. These are the types of games you can just come out and get a big score from out of nothing. So they are my 3 differential picks. Q, let's get 3 differentials from you for this week if you've got 3.
My first pick is Fergie-licious Ferguson from Brighton. So he's 6.0, 6.7% owned. And as I said, Welbeck being out injured, Pedro playing in Europe. I think he starts this week and probably starts the next few. So we've seen what he did last season. I'm I'm already crowning him the next Harry Kane. I've said it multiple times on this
Yeah,
podcast.
you've been saying this
my
for
own podcast.
about the year now. You have, yeah.
So yeah, I think he's a great pick. My second pick for this week is an Aston Villa player, John McGinn, mentioned on the pod. He did get the assist, but I think he'd get a bit more this week. I think this could be a game where he bags a goal and an assist and some bonus. So I like him, and he's only, let me get up here.
What's his price? Do you know his price?
His price is 5.5 and he's only 0.7% owned.
Okay, so good little enabler in that midfield.
Yeah, so I like, those are probably my two picks. Mohamed Kudus from West Ham, I think, also could be a decent pick, but I've probably got him below Bowen and probably Ward-Prowse at the moment till I see that he's going to start.
No, I love that. Some good differentials there from Q. We'll see if any more questions come in. If you've got any more questions, get them in the next sort of minute or so. I've seen a couple that have come through, which is great. So get a few more in, and then we'll probably look to wrap it up in the next 5 minutes, as we'll be hitting an hour and a half, and we will be 5.5 hours till deadline. And me and Q also need to get to bed soon, as it's about 11 at night. Over here, Zaza Q, should I use Pope or Raya this week?
Raya, because I think
against Sheffield United.
Yeah, I think he might get a couple of saves, which means might get 3 saves, which is the bonus points, at least 1, and then a clean sheet and possibly maybe some bonus, depending on how high scoring it is.
Yeah, no, I agree there, mate. Jermaine, hope that Aussie support the Springboks for the Rugby World Cup final against the All Blacks. Hey, Q. What do you reckon?
There's a fella that I work with that is a South African, and he's been talking about the Rugby World Cup all week, and yeah, I'm on board with it. The underdogs. A lot of people say that underdogs, but I think that they've probably played consistently good rugby through the World Cup. I haven't watched a lot of games, but I've just been following it on the likes of Twitter and stuff like that. So yeah, up the Springboks and boo earns to the All Blacks.
Yeah, it's been difficult to watch that because you have to buy. They've not put it on normal TV, but yeah, no, I'm with you. I actually hope South Africa win the Rugby World Cup.
They need to get Big Ange into the chain sheds. Give the half-time speech.
Yeah, they actually do. They do. I'd probably say I agree. I prefer South Africa to win over New Zealand. Sorry if there's anyone from New Zealand watching. Zaza, another question. Udogi is a risk injury. I might want to replace him, but with who? Any suggestion? Gabriel.
Gabriel Saliba, probably, because you're going to get
Saliba, Samikas.
Yeah.
I think Romero. What about Christian Romero? Q? He's been getting some big scores.
Yeah, Romero or Van der Ven actually could be a bit of a differential pick. I love Van der Ven. He's mesmerizing on the ball. He's outstanding. Quality. I love him. Yeah.
He's quality. My missus loves him as well, but I don't know if it's for his footballing ability.
Mad out, Van der
Ven. The Van der Ven was nearly scored again against Fulham.
He's just such a good player. Like, I don't know about you, but when I used to watch Spurs and they try to play out the back, I get real nervous. And there's a couple of times where he's beat that player, then played a smick ball, and I'm thinking, this bloke, geez, I love him.
Yeah, he looks brilliant. What a bargain so far. But yeah, good options. Romero's just picking up, he scored 2 goals. The bonus point system, they're loving him because he's just making a lot of passes. All of his tackles are so perfectly timed. And he's not actually I know he's known to. A lot of people were saying last season Romero, he's a bit of a joke of a player because he gets stupid red cards. But Argentinians play on the edge, number 1, and then number 2. Now he's in the right system under Ange. He's actually shown how good he is, like he does for Argentina, and he's not getting the yellows anymore, and he's not making the stupid tackles because he's not having to play, utter chaos in defence. So I like the Romero pick as well.
Yeah, I was listening to a Spurs podcast and they were talking about how Ange has kind of given him the keys of the kingdom and said, you're the leader in the back line. I back you. I think you're a quality player. And he's showing that how good he is. And he's looking more composed and not sort of doing, I guess, those silly tackles that we've seen in the past where the tackles have been incredible, and just his organisation, making sure when they get a bit flustered that he calms the ball down, traps it, plays it around, and gets them sort of back into the rhythm. So yeah, he's been incredible, and I think Poro is probably the best pick if you want to get out your doggy, because attacking upside, Poro is probably the best.
He's
I
due
like
a goal. The way he's been playing, he's due a goal.
Yeah, and he scored a goal in this fixture last season. So that's
true.
I mean, that's just a useless stat, to be honest. But if you're going to go another Spurs asset, I'd definitely probably say Poro, then Romero. But even if you want to go a week early on an Arsenal defensive asset, because they've got Sheffield United, and I couldn't see Sheffield giving them too many issues.
No, good stuff. Good stuff. Shireen, she's proudly South African, so she wants him to win as well. Quick thoughts on Louise. For me, I think he's good because he's a cheap player to rotate in your team, and you know that if you need to play someone, so if you don't have anyone else to play, you can put him in, because there's always a chance of a penalty now, especially with all the VAR stuff that goes on. But just be careful, because he can randomly just snap and get red cards. It's happened before. But I think as a cheap fifth midfielder, if you're not going to play him every week, I would say bring him in.
Yeah, no, I think I guess it comes down to a cheap FPL asset that's getting points in a really good side at the moment. So, ticks a lot of boxes for me, and especially if you're not feeling bad if you got a bench in 1 week, because it's not like you're benching Salah. You're benching a player that you've got him in there to plug in good fixtures and put him on the bench when they're not good fixtures. So I like it.
No, I agree. And look, great stuff tonight, Q. Thanks for coming on, mate. Any last words before we wrap up the stream? What do you have to say about Maddison Sellers?
Maddison Sellers, I can't get behind it. I think Maddison is he's such a good asset. We've been crying out for years for him to join a big team, and he's finally on the biggest team at the moment. And if you look in the games, every attacking chance they have starts with Maddison, whether he's the first guy that passes it, or he's the second last guy that passes it, or he's on the other end of a 1-2 with Son, like we saw on the weekend where he made that run and got the ball and scored. So, yeah, I think there's too much upside with Maddison at the moment to sort of get him out. So, don't get Maddison out. It's Big Ange instead of any other asset. So
I love that. And what do you think on this one, Q? I'd say, I think, like Q said, I don't think you need to get rid of Bruno this week, because he might not return this week, but he's got great fixtures after that, and he's actually been getting some returns. So I think you can just hold Bruno for a few more weeks.
Well, this could be a fixture that he actually gets returning and no one expects it. Imagine if it was a 1-1 draw. Rodri scores, Bruno scores, gets 3 bonus, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, everyone got out Bruno." Well, not this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Bruno's pretty fixture proof, so plus he takes pens, so he's not the worst player to keep.
No, I wouldn't see an Aston Villa player. If it was going to get you Watkins, I could entertain it, but if it's going to get you Douglas Luiz, I'm not a fan. But I am wearing a United shirt, so.
Is he though? We think he's a Spurs fan now, but anyway, we'll see. We'll leave it at that. Zada, thanks, mate, and thanks to everyone that's tuned in tonight. We've had some great views, some great comments. Hour and a half's absolutely flown by. So yeah, it's been great to have Q on as well.
And everyone in the chat, like and subscribe. He's heavily underfollowed. Need to get in there, press that like button, follow it.
Nice one, Q. And also follow Q, FPLAmateursOfAus. Check out his website, his Twitter account, Instagram. He's got YouTube as well. So go and check out Q. And don't miss the deadline. Don't miss the deadline. It's an early deadline. So just get your transfers done now if you're in a time zone like mine and Q's. And then if you're over in Europe, don't miss that deadline for Friday night. And any time, mate, Zaza. But look, we'll leave now. Thanks to everyone that joined. I'm FPLMattDay. I'll see you all in the next one. Good luck for the game week. Bye for now.